If you are over 60 and experiencing tingling, burning, or numbness in your feet and hands, stop for a moment and listen carefully. I hear this statement almost every week in my clinic. Doctor, I don't understand. I never had diabetes. I don't drink alcohol. Why do I have neuropathy? Just recently, a 67-year-old patient named Thomas came to see me in complete confusion. He developed severe burning pain in both feet over just 18 months. His blood sugar was normal. He had no family history of nerve problems. He never smoked. He exercised occasionally. Yet his neuropathy was progressing faster than cases I typically see in diabetics who have had uncontrolled blood sugar for decades. What surprised him was this. He was not unlucky. He was not genetically predisposed. He was doing specific things every single day that were destroying his nerves. New research shows that certain very common lifestyle mistakes, especially in adults over 60, can trigger and accelerate neuropathy faster than most disease processes. I'm Dr. Maria Santos, and in this video, I will explain those mistakes, why most doctors miss the connection, and how to protect your nerves starting today so you don't speed run your way into permanent nerve damage. Before we dive in, drop a comment with your age and where you're watching from today. Are you experiencing burning feet, numbness, balance problems, or shooting pains in your legs? Write your answer below because your experience helps our entire community. And hit that subscribe button because I share life-saving health strategies like this every week to help you thrive after 60. Most people believe that neuropathy only happens to diabetics or alcoholics. But in adults over 60, that assumption is dangerously wrong. Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage that affects sensation, movement, and pain signals throughout your body. It is essential to understand that your nerves require specific nutrients, adequate blood flow, stable blood sugar, and protection from inflammation to function properly. Without these protective factors, nerve fibers begin to deteriorate. That is why early symptoms include tingling in the feet and hands, burning sensations that feel like walking on hot coals, sharp shooting pains that strike without warning, balance problems that make you feel unsteady, and difficulty sensing temperature or touch. Some patients describe it as wearing thick socks when they are barefoot. Others say their feet feel like wooden blocks. Here is the problem. As we age, our nerves become more vulnerable to damage from factors that younger people can tolerate. By the age of 60, more than 40% of adults have some degree of nerve function decline. Blood circulation to nerve endings decreases. Inflammatory markers rise throughout the body. Nutrient absorption drops significantly. Cellular repair mechanisms slow down. Mitochondrial function in nerve cells declines. Without intervention, these changes accelerate nerve damage exponentially. I saw this clearly with one of my patients named Dorothy, age 69. She complained of feet that felt like they were walking on broken glass every single morning. Her doctor ran a complete diabetes panel. Everything came back normal. Her hemoglobin A1C was 5.6. Her fasting glucose was 98. She was told her symptoms were just part of aging and that nothing could be done. But her symptoms kept progressing rapidly. Within 6 months, she could barely walk to her mailbox without severe pain. What most people do not realize is that normal blood sugar does not guarantee healthy nerves. You can have normal fasting glucose while experiencing dangerous blood sugar spikes after meals. Those spikes damage nerves just as severely as diagnosed diabetes. In older adults, neuropathy can develop from intermittent glucose elevation that never shows up on standard testing. Your doctor checks fasting blood sugar. That number looks fine. But 2 hours after your breakfast, your glucose might be hitting 180 or 200. Those spikes create oxidative stress. They trigger inflammatory cascades. They damage the delicate blood vessels that feed your nerves. This happens 3 times every day after each meal. Your annual physical shows normal results. Meanwhile, your nerves are being destroyed meal after meal, day after day, month after month. This is why so many seniors develop severe nerve damage while being told their tests look fine. The tests are measuring the wrong thing at the wrong time. Now, here is where the first major mistake happens. Most seniors sit for 8 to 12 hours every single day. They wake up, sit for breakfast, sit watching morning television, sit for lunch, sit reading or on their computer, sit for dinner, then sit watching evening shows until bedtime. They assume this is normal retirement behaviour. They worked hard their whole lives. They deserve to relax. But in people over 60, prolonged sitting is one of the fastest ways to destroy nerve function. Let me explain exactly what happens inside your body when you sit. Nerve health requires continuous blood flow. Your peripheral nerves, especially in your feet and legs, depend on tiny blood vessels called vasa nervorum. These vessels deliver oxygen and nutrients while removing metabolic waste products and carbon dioxide. When you sit for hours without moving, blood pools in your lower legs due to gravity. Circulation to nerve endings drops dramatically. The small capillaries that feed nerves begin to collapse. Without adequate blood flow, nerve cells begin to starve. They accumulate toxic waste products. Mitochondria inside nerve cells cannot produce energy. The sodium-potassium pumps that maintain nerve signals start to fail. Without oxygen, nerve tissue begins to die. This is not a minor issue. It is a biological crisis happening in your feet right now while you sit reading this. That 67-year-old patient I mentioned earlier, Thomas, was retired and spent an average of 11 hours sitting each day. Same chair, same routine, same position. He would sit for breakfast at 7 a.m., sit reading the newspaper until 9 a.m., sit at his computer checking emails and news until noon, sit for lunch, sit watching afternoon television until 4 p.m., sit for dinner at 6 p.m., sit watching evening shows until 10 p.m., day after day, week after week, month after month. Yet his nerves were deteriorating rapidly. When we implemented a simple movement protocol, not exercise, just regular movement breaks every 30 minutes, his burning pain decreased within 4 weeks. By 8 weeks, he could walk without discomfort. By 12 weeks, the numbness in his toes improved significantly. This is why movement frequency matters just as much as exercise intensity. You do not need to run marathons. You do not need intense workouts. You need frequent movement throughout the day. Research published in the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolism shows that breaking up sitting time with just 2 minutes of light movement every 30 minutes improves nerve blood flow by up to 35% in older adults. Another study from the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that seniors who sat for more than 8 hours daily had 2.4 times higher risk of developing peripheral neuropathy compared to those who broke up sitting time regularly. But here is what most people miss. Standing desks alone do not solve the problem. Static standing creates similar circulation issues. When you stand completely still for hours, blood still pools in your lower extremities. Venous return decreases. Nerve perfusion drops. You must move, walk around your house, shift weight from one foot to the other, flex your ankles up and down, rotate your feet in circles, march in place for 30 seconds. These small movements activate your calf muscle pump, which drives blood back up from your feet toward your heart. Your calf muscles are called your second heart for exactly this reason. When they contract, they squeeze the veins and push blood upward against gravity. I saw this with a patient named Helen, age 71. She bought an expensive standing desk after reading about the dangers of sitting. She was determined to protect her health. She stood for 6 hours daily at her desk, barely moving, feeling proud of her discipline. Her neuropathy symptoms actually worsened over the next 3 months. The burning in her feet intensified. She developed swelling in her ankles. Why? Because standing still creates venous pooling just like sitting still. The position changes, but the circulation problem remains. When we changed her approach to alternating sitting, standing and walking every 20 to 30 minutes, her symptoms stabilized within weeks. By 2 months, the swelling disappeared. By 3 months, her burning decreased by 60%. Another critical issue is evening behaviour. Many seniors sit from dinner time until bed, often 4 to 5 hours of continuous sitting during the time when circulation is already naturally slower. Your blood pressure drops in the evening, your heart rate slows, your metabolism decreases. This extended evening sitting period creates the perfect environment for nerve damage. Your nerves are already getting less blood flow due to normal circadian rhythms. Then you add hours of immobility on top of that. It is a recipe for accelerated nerve death. There is also a dangerous pattern I see with television watching. Seniors often sit with their legs crossed or feet tucked under their body for hours while watching shows. This position directly compresses nerves. The peroneal nerve that runs along the outside of your knee is especially vulnerable. The tibial nerve behind your knee can be compressed. Doing this repeatedly, night after night, week after week, can cause permanent nerve compression damage on top of metabolic neuropathy. Some of my patients have developed foot drop, an inability to lift the front of the foot, purely from crossing their legs during television watching for years. I have seen cases where patients compress the ulnar nerve in their elbow by leaning on armrests for hours daily. They develop numbness in their ring finger and pinky that never fully recovered. The key lesson here is simple. If you are over 60 and sitting for more than 30 minutes at a time without movement breaks, you are actively damaging your nerves every single day. Your body was not designed for this level of immobility. Your nerves cannot survive it long term. Evolution designed humans to move frequently throughout the day. Our ancestors walked, gathered, hunted, built, and moved constantly. Sitting for 12 hours daily is a modern invention. Your biology has not adapted to it. Your nerves are paying the price. If you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It really supports the channel and helps us reach more seniors who need this information. Your engagement tells the algorithm to share this video with more people who could benefit from understanding how to protect their nerves. Now, let us talk about the second mistake, and this one is extremely common. Many people are eating their way into neuropathy without realizing it. If you look at the typical senior diet, you will see the same pattern again and again. Breakfast cereal or toast with orange juice, mid-morning snack of crackers or a muffin, lunch with bread, pasta or a sandwich, afternoon cookies, granola bar or fruit, dinner with rice, potatoes or more pasta, evening dessert or snack before bed. This is a blood sugar roller coaster that destroys nerves faster than almost anything else. Let me explain the exact mechanism. High carbohydrate meals cause rapid blood glucose spikes. When you eat a bowl of cereal, the carbohydrates break down into glucose within minutes. Your blood sugar shoots up from 95 to 160, 170, or even 180. Even if your fasting blood sugar tests normal at your annual physical, those post-meal spikes damage nerve cells through a process called glycation. Sugar molecules attach to nerve proteins, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products or AGEs. These AGEs directly damage nerve structure and function. They stiffen nerve fibers. They impair electrical signaling. They damage the myelin sheath that protects nerves. They trigger inflammatory responses that attack nerve tissue. Your body must process these high glucose meals constantly. That processing requires insulin. Your pancreas releases large amounts of insulin to drive glucose out of your bloodstream and into cells. Over time, cells become resistant to insulin signals. They stop responding efficiently. This creates a vicious cycle. Your pancreas produces more insulin to overcome resistance. Higher insulin levels cause inflammation throughout your body. Inflammation damages nerves directly. Damaged nerves become more sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations. The cycle accelerates. I saw this with a patient named Robert, age 74. He had been eating what he called a healthy diet for years. Steel-cut oatmeal with banana and honey for breakfast. Whole wheat sandwich with an apple for lunch. Whole grain pasta with vegetables and marinara sauce for dinner. Fruit as snacks between meals. He avoided fried foods. He never ate fast food. He thought he was doing everything right. His fasting glucose was always normal, ranging between 95 and 105. His doctor never expressed concern, but he continued to experience progressive numbness in his feet that was slowly climbing up his ankles. He developed burning pain in his calves that woke him at night. His balance became unstable. He started using a cane for fear of falling. When we tested his post-meal blood sugar with a continuous glucose monitor, the truth became undeniable. After his oatmeal breakfast with banana and honey, his glucose spiked to 165 within 45 minutes. After his whole wheat sandwich with apple, it hit 180. After his whole grain pasta dinner, it reached 190. These spikes were happening 3 times daily, 365 days per year for years. His nerves had no chance to recover. The damage was accumulating faster than his body could repair. When we restructured his meals to prioritize protein and healthy fats first, then added moderate amounts of low glycemic vegetables, his post-meal spikes dropped dramatically. Breakfast became eggs with avocado and spinach. His post-meal glucose stayed under 120. Lunch became grilled chicken salad with olive oil and nuts. His glucose barely moved above 110. Dinner became salmon with broccoli and cauliflower. His glucose stayed stable. Within 6 weeks, his burning pain decreased by 40%. Within 3 months, the numbness stopped progressing. Within 6 months, he could feel sensation returning to areas that had been numb for over a year. Research shows that post-meal glucose spikes above 140 trigger inflammatory cascades and nerve damage even in people without diabetes. A study published in Diabetes Care found that glucose variability, the ups and downs throughout the day, predicted neuropathy development better than average blood sugar levels. Another study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology showed that people with normal fasting glucose but elevated post-meal spikes had the same nerve damage as diagnosed diabetics. This happens silently. You feel fine after eating your oatmeal or pasta. You have no immediate symptoms. You have no idea your nerves are being damaged with every meal. But the cumulative effect over months and years is devastating. Each spike creates oxidative stress. Each spike generates inflammatory molecules. Each spike damages a few more nerve fibers. Over time, you cross the threshold from subtle changes to noticeable symptoms. By the time you feel numbness or burning, significant damage has already occurred. Sugar molecules attach to nerve proteins, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products or AGEs. These AGEs directly damage nerve structure and function. They stiffen nerve fibers. They impair electrical signaling. They damage the myelin sheath that protects nerves. They trigger inflammatory responses that attack nerve tissue. Another critical issue is meal timing and frequency. Many seniors eat small, frequent meals or snacks throughout the day. They were told this keeps their energy stable and metabolism active. In reality, constant eating keeps insulin elevated continuously. Your body never gets a break from processing glucose. Your cells never restore insulin sensitivity. Your pancreas works overtime all day long. This chronic elevation of insulin is called hyperinsulinemia. It is one of the most damaging metabolic states for nerve health. Hyperinsulinemia increases inflammation, promotes weight gain especially around the abdomen, raises blood pressure, damages blood vessels, and directly impairs nerve function. There is also a dangerous misunderstanding about fruit. Many seniors eat fruit multiple times daily, believing it is healthy and natural. While fruit contains beneficial nutrients like vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants, it also contains fructose. Excessive fructose consumption accelerates age formation and contributes to insulin resistance. 3 servings of fruit daily, especially tropical fruits like pineapple and mango, or dried fruits like raisins and dates, can significantly worsen neuropathy risk. 1 cup of raisins contains over 100 grams of sugar. That is more sugar than a can of soda. But because it comes from fruit, people assume it is healthy and eat it freely. I had a patient named Barbara, age 66, who was eating fruit 5 times daily. Berries with breakfast, a banana mid-morning, an apple with lunch, grapes in the afternoon, melon after dinner. She believed she was making excellent choices. She avoided all processed foods and sugar, yet her neuropathy progressed rapidly. When we reduced her fruit intake to 1 serving of low glycemic berries per day, her glucose spikes decreased significantly. Her neuropathy symptoms stabilized within 8 weeks. The key lesson here is simple. If you are over 60 and eating high-carbohydrate meals 3 or more times daily, you are creating the exact metabolic environment that causes neuropathy. Your blood sugar does not need to be diabetic. It just needs to spike repeatedly. And if you are eating the standard American senior diet, it is spiking every single time you eat. Now we come to the 3rd mistake that surprises most seniors because it has nothing to do with diet or movement. It has to do with inflammation you are creating without knowing it. Many people are exposing themselves to inflammatory triggers every single day: poor sleep quality, chronic stress and worry, dehydration, toxic chemical exposures, untreated infections and dental problems, chronic pain from arthritis or injuries, social isolation and loneliness. Each one individually seems minor or unrelated to neuropathy. Together, they create an inflammatory environment that accelerates nerve damage faster than any single disease process. Let me explain how inflammation destroys nerves. Nerve tissue is extremely sensitive to inflammatory molecules. Inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and C-reactive protein directly attack the protective myelin sheath around nerves. They damage the small blood vessels that feed nerves. They impair the cellular mechanisms that repair nerve damage. They disrupt mitochondrial function inside nerve cells. They activate destructive enzymes that break down nerve proteins. Chronic inflammation does not cause dramatic symptoms initially. It works slowly and silently over months and years. I saw this pattern in a 68-year-old patient named Patricia. She took good care of herself in many ways. She ate reasonably well, avoiding junk food and sodas. She walked her dog regularly, getting movement daily. But she slept poorly, averaging 4 to 5 hours of fragmented sleep each night for years. She lived with constant worry about her adult children who were struggling financially. She rarely drank water, preferring coffee in the morning and diet soda throughout the afternoon. She used conventional cleaning products loaded with harsh chemicals. She sprayed bleach, ammonia, and disinfectants throughout her house weekly. She used personal care items filled with parabens, phthalates, and synthetic fragrances daily. She had untreated gum disease with bleeding gums every time she brushed. When she began experiencing neuropathy symptoms, she could not understand why. Her lifestyle seemed healthier than most of her friends. She did not have diabetes. She did not drink alcohol. She was not overweight, but her inflammatory burden was enormous. When we addressed these factors systematically, everything changed. We improved her sleep to 7 hours nightly, using sleep hygiene techniques and addressing her sleep apnea. We taught her stress management techniques including deep breathing, meditation, and cognitive reframing. We increased her water intake to 8 glasses daily, drastically reducing her coffee, and eliminating diet soda. We eliminated toxic chemical exposures by switching to natural cleaning products like vinegar, baking soda, and Castile soap. We addressed her gum disease with proper dental care and deep cleaning. Within 2 months, her tingling decreased noticeably. Within 4 months, her balance improved dramatically. Within 6 months, her inflammatory markers measured by blood tests dropped by 50%. Her high-sensitivity C-reactive protein went from 8.2 down to 3.1. Her nerve conduction studies showed improvement for the first time in years. Another overlooked inflammatory trigger is dental health. Chronic gum disease, also called periodontitis, creates system-wide inflammation that damages nerves throughout your body. The bacteria from infected gums enter your bloodstream every time you chew or brush your teeth. Your immune system responds with inflammatory molecules. Those molecules circulate everywhere, including to your peripheral nerves. Many seniors ignore bleeding gums or loose teeth, not realizing this chronic infection is spreading inflammatory markers throughout their body 24 hours a day. Studies show that people with severe gum disease have significantly higher rates of peripheral neuropathy. Treating the gum disease reduces inflammation and can slow neuropathy progression. Medication side effects also contribute to inflammatory burden and direct nerve damage. Certain blood pressure medications, especially ACE inhibitors, can increase neuropathy risk in susceptible individuals. Statin drugs used for cholesterol management cause peripheral neuropathy in approximately 10 to 15% of long-term users. Acid-blocking medications like proton pump inhibitors reduce vitamin B12 absorption, leading to deficiency-related nerve damage. Certain antibiotics, especially fluoroquinolones, can cause direct nerve damage that persists even after stopping the medication. This does not mean you should stop your medications. These drugs often provide important benefits. It means you must be aware of the risk and take extra protective measures if you are using these medications long-term. Environmental toxins deserve special attention because most seniors never consider them. Heavy metals like mercury and lead accumulate in aging bodies over decades. Mercury exposure comes from dental amalgam fillings and contaminated fish. Lead exposure comes from old paint, contaminated water, and industrial pollution. These metals directly damage nerves. Pesticide residues from conventional produce add to the toxic burden. The Environmental Working Group identifies the dirty dozen fruits and vegetables with highest pesticide contamination. Eating these foods daily without choosing organic options increases toxic exposure. Mold exposure from water-damaged homes creates severe inflammation and neurotoxicity. Many seniors live in older homes with hidden mold behind walls, under carpets, or in HVAC systems. This constant exposure triggers immune responses and neurological symptoms, including neuropathy. Air pollution from living near highways, industrial areas, or wildfire zones accelerates nerve damage through particulate matter and volatile organic compounds. Most seniors never connect these environmental exposures to their neuropathy. They focus on blood sugar and diet while breathing toxic air, drinking contaminated water, and living in moldy environments. The inflammation these exposures create can overwhelm any benefit from dietary changes. Finally, many seniors have undiagnosed nutritional deficiencies that worsen inflammation and directly impair nerve function. Low vitamin D levels are extremely common in seniors, affecting more than 70% of adults over 65. Vitamin D deficiency is directly linked to increased neuropathy risk. Vitamin D receptors exist on nerve cells. Without adequate vitamin D, nerve repair mechanisms fail. Magnesium deficiency, present in more than 50% of seniors, impairs nerve function and increases inflammation. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those involved in nerve signal transmission. Omega-3 fatty acid deficiency removes one of the body's most important anti-inflammatory tools. Omega-3s from fish oil reduce inflammatory cytokines and support nerve membrane structure. Vitamin B12 deficiency causes direct nerve damage that mimics diabetic neuropathy. Seniors with low stomach acid or those taking acid blockers cannot absorb B12 efficiently from food. By this point, you may realize something important. Most seniors are not doing one thing wrong. They are doing several things wrong at the same time. Each mistake increases nerve damage slightly. Together, they create the perfect storm for rapid neuropathy development. This is how you speedrun getting neuropathy. Sit all day without movement breaks. Eat high-carbohydrate meals that spike blood sugar repeatedly. Live with chronic inflammation from poor sleep, stress, toxins, and deficiencies. Do all three consistently for months or years. Your nerves will fail. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. The damage accumulates silently until you cross the threshold into symptoms. Now let me walk you through the correct neuropathy prevention protocol for seniors. This is the approach I use with my own patients over 60 who want to protect their nerves or reverse early damage. First, let us talk about movement and circulation. For most seniors, the goal is not intense exercise or marathon running. The goal is frequent movement throughout every single day. Set a timer on your phone or watch for every 30 minutes. When it goes off, stand up and move for 2 to 3 minutes minimum. Walk to another room and back. Do ankle circles, 10 rotations in each direction. March in place, lifting your knees moderately high. Shift your weight from one foot to the other. Do calf raises, lifting up on your toes and lowering back down. These simple movements maintain blood flow to nerve endings. They activate the muscle pump in your calves. They prevent venous pooling. They ensure oxygen and nutrients reach your peripheral nerves. Second, evening movement is critical and often overlooked. After dinner, do not sit continuously until bedtime. This is when most seniors make their biggest mistake. They eat dinner at 6 p.m., then sit watching television until 10 or 11 p.m. 4 to 5 hours of uninterrupted sitting when circulation is already naturally slower. Instead, take a 10 to 15-minute walk after dinner. This aids digestion, improves glucose metabolism, and maintains nerve perfusion. Do gentle stretches during commercial breaks if watching television. Stand and march in place for 1 minute every 20 minutes. Walk to the kitchen for water. Walk to check the mail. Any movement is better than continuous sitting. Third, avoid compression positions that directly damage nerves. Never sit with legs crossed for extended periods. This compresses the perineal nerve and can cause permanent damage. Do not tuck your feet under your body while sitting. This compresses blood vessels and nerves in your feet and ankles. Keep your feet flat on the floor or elevated on a footrest at approximately heart level. Do not lean on your elbows for hours while reading or using a computer. This compresses the ulnar nerve. Do not sleep with your arms bent sharply at the elbows. Use a pillow or towel to keep elbows slightly extended while sleeping. Fourth, dietary structure matters more than you might think. The order in which you eat food affects your glucose response significantly. Start every meal with protein and healthy fats. Eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, grass-fed beef, nuts and seeds, olive oil, avocado, coconut oil. These foods stabilize blood sugar, provide sustained energy, and do not spike glucose. They also increase satiety so you eat less overall. Then add non-starchy vegetables in generous amounts. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, arugula, and lettuce. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. Peppers, zucchini, asparagus, green beans, mushrooms, tomatoes, cucumbers. These provide essential nutrients, fiber, and antioxidants without causing glucose spikes. They are high in potassium and magnesium, which support nerve function. Finally, if you choose to include carbohydrates, add small amounts of low glycemic options at the end of your meal. Berries like blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries. Quinoa in small portions. Sweet potato, not regular white potato. Beans and lentils. Keep portions small, no more than a quarter of your plate. Eating carbohydrates last, after protein, fat and vegetables, significantly reduces the glucose spike. Research shows this eating order can lower post-meal glucose by 30 to 40% compared to eating carbohydrates first. Fifth, meal timing and frequency. For most seniors with neuropathy risk, eating 2 to 3 meals daily works better than constant snacking. Allow 4 to 5 hours between meals with no snacking. This gives your body time to fully process glucose, restore insulin sensitivity, and enter a fat-burning state. Your insulin levels drop between meals. This break from constant insulin elevation is crucial for nerve health. Some seniors benefit from a 12 to 14-hour overnight fast, eating dinner by 6 p.m. and breakfast after 8 a.m. the next morning. This extended fasting period allows cellular repair mechanisms to activate. Autophagy, the process where cells clean out damaged components, increases during fasting. This helps remove damaged proteins from nerve cells. Sixth, hydration is more critical than most people realize. Drink at least 6 to 8 glasses of pure water daily. Not coffee, not tea, not juice, not soda, pure water. Dehydration thickens blood, reduces circulation, impairs nutrient delivery to nerves, and interferes with waste removal. Many seniors avoid drinking water because they worry about frequent bathroom trips. But chronic dehydration significantly worsens neuropathy. Add a pinch of sea salt to your water to improve cellular hydration. The electrolytes help water actually enter cells rather than just passing through. Seventh, sleep quality cannot be ignored. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep nightly. Keep your bedroom dark, cool around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and quiet. Use blackout curtains. Remove all light sources, including LED lights, from electronics. Establish a consistent sleep schedule, going to bed and waking at the same time every day, even on weekends. Address sleep apnea if present. Untreated sleep apnea causes repeated oxygen drops that damage nerves directly. It raises inflammation dramatically. It prevents deep restorative sleep. If you snore loudly or wake gasping for air, get evaluated for sleep apnea. Poor sleep raises cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol increases inflammation, raises blood sugar, and accelerates nerve damage.